Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scenic View podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Owens, Communications Director here at Scenic. I'm here with Artis Watkins, Suzanne Beasley, and Sammy Klein. We have lots to talk about this week, so let's dive right in. So it is Thanksgiving weekend, and we all have places to go, I assume. Everyone have travel plans this week or anything? I'm going to...
Close travel.
Okay, close travel. I'm heading to the beach after this. We always go down to the beach. So eat up some good turkey. So let's get this done with. First topic this week, we always start with the budgets. Obviously, there's nothing big going on that we know of, except there was a report from the John Locke Foundation calling for the budget to be finalized.
Yeah, and I saw where Governor Stein also made a statement that he's at the table and ready to work. The budget's stalemate, it's hitting state employees and retirees right in the pocketbook at a time when they really, truly can't take one more thing, not to mention the impact that it's having on some of our more vulnerable populations. But life is hard. Grocery prices are expensive and, healthcare costs are out of control, just whack. So, we need a budget. But that doesn't look like it's going to happen. There's one more legislative session this year. It's going to be skeletal. It's on December 15th. I don't feel hopeful they'll actually change their mind and come and do any kind of business, especially that close to Christmas. So, yeah, it's going to be short session before we see real work.
The story from John Locke Foundation is from Joseph Harris, the fiscal policy analyst. So Governor Stein, used that as a chance to kind of turn the knife a little bit. So he pulled out excerpts of that story. And one of them is that North Carolina is the only state in the nation that was expected to pass a budget in 2025 and didn't.
And did not, yeah.
And they never even sent one to the governor's desk, not for a signature or a veto. Nothing.
These are not great things to be the only one doing,
Yeah.
We're the worst, the most expensive for health care, the worst for health care outcomes. No budget, only state in the country, no budget. Those things are not looking good.
And the kicker quote here is, North Carolinians do not care about intra-party rivalries or procedural excuses. So we'll see if that prompts a little movement from the...
Yeah. Well, just a tidbit, too, coming up. Candidate filing, the upcoming election starts on December 5th and ends December 20th. There's a handful of folks that are not going to come back to the legislature. Senator Bobby Hanig is running for U.S. Senate. Representative William Brisson is going to retire after all these years. Representative Ted Davis is not seeking re-election. Representative Sarah Stevens is running for the Supreme Court. So there's some folks that aren't going to come back. There's some new folks we've got to get to know that have replaced some folks that have already left.
So this is filing for next year's election?
Yeah.
So just an aside, is the political climate nationally, does it affect statewide races like that? Like if there's a likelihood of a huge wave one way or the other, will you see more people maybe not running next year? Or
depends on raising skills.
I was going to say it's all about money.
Are they kind of insulated though with the districts, right? I mean,
well, not all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the overall balance is tilted, but you still got some places where somebody could snatch a win if they had maybe name recognition locally and a heck of a fundraising machine. They could snake a position here and there.
Yeah.
Seems like it's so far away, but it's just a year away, and it'll be here before we know it, right?
Before you know it.
Yeah. And primaries before that. It's going to be exciting.
We had a board meeting over the weekend, and lots of people were interested in the impact report, and it seemed like there's a little buzz about elections already.
Definitely. Impacts are our internal political action committee for Scenic. And the buzz is they want the people that they feel like have really stood up for state employees and retirees. They want to put boots on the ground in a significant way for those folks.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. And, and have a major plan around doing that rather than just saying, this will be great, let's do it. There's planning and activity to go into that.
Mm-hmm.
During convention, I also heard somewhat of the opposite of members saying we shouldn't endorse anyone.
Oh, yeah, there's that out there, too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we often say this, that Scenic is a picture of what our whole state looks like. So, you're going to have people that are in the other bucket.
Well, I mean, I think this is happening. This is why fundraising is getting harder and harder for both parties, because people, businesses, whoever, are saying, look, I don't know that anybody's really gone to bat for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you do have issues if you have a board of directors, if you have, in our case, members. They don't want to see you making donations or throwing some kind of massive support behind somebody. They start to get really upset if you're doing that and nothing's happening when it could, when there could be an easy lift for the members and it doesn't happen. It's just something you have to deal with.
I think a big thing is a lack of a budget. They're looking at it saying, you're not getting anything done. Why should we support any of you?
Yeah, there's a lot
Nothing
of the
is
whole
happening.
You had one job sentiment.
There is. And while we're on that note, though, I also read something this morning that the State Board of Elections is sending out its second round of voter repair notices. So if you haven't gone and checked on your voter registration, now is probably a good time to do it. Just go to the State Board of Election, use the voter lookup tool, and you can check your registration. They say what they're looking for. There were things without driver's license numbers, social security numbers. So just check your registration.
And it's an insane number of SEANC members that are registered to vote.
Yeah.
It's like 95%.
Like at least 95% of our members are registered to vote. It may even be higher than that now, but that's, I guess it makes sense. They're public employees.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think their job depends more elected officials than, say, if they work in the private sector, or there's a perception that it does. So I would see that.
And they know what's going on. They know where the bodies are buried. They know when government works and when it doesn't, and where government's spending a bunch of money and it shouldn't. And they have feelings. And
appropriately so.
Well, I guess that's budget talk. We'll keep watching on that. One topic that we didn't talk about last week, but I think it was out in the ether last week, but we didn't get to it, and I think we should go back and spend some time on it, was State Auditor Dave Bullock's rapid response report on DHHS that was released last week. The big finding was that DHHS generated $386 million in lapse salary funds from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. So that would be the last fiscal year, right?
Right.
Of course they did. We, in our institutions dealing with our most vulnerable people, where employees in those jobs sometimes get punched, beat up, spit on, tough jobs, incredibly low pay. And we can't keep those jobs filled and lose an awful lot of people to go down the street and work at a fast food restaurant where it's less likely that you're going to have those things happen to you.
Still a possibility.
Still a possibility.
So DHHS criticized those findings and saying that the figure was presented without disclosing the methodology.
Well, we've been talking about having Secretary Sung Vai on, and I think that's a great time to have him on and ask a little more about that. I do know from our members who work in those, at least the DSOF part of DHHS, which is the institutions, they are incredibly active in SEANC, and I know for a fact those jobs are being advertised. They can't get them filled. So I don't know what jobs they were talking about not being advertised.
Yeah, the auditor's report found that 340 positions were never posted or advertised during that time.
I don't know where those jobs were. It's DHHS is a mammoth organization.
Yeah.
Like to hear more on that straight from the department.
Yeah.
So of that $386 million, $151 million came from state appropriations. So it's not all from state funds. The rest is from federal funding. But my question is, so what? It's not like they wasted this money. It just wasn't spent. I know it's definitely a problem that they don't have the positions filled. But what is he getting at here, I guess, is the question.
Well, I think he's saying, hey, as auditor, I've got to do my job, and I'm looking at this, and you want an amount, you, DHHS, specifically for the Medicaid program, want an amount from the General Assembly that happens to be almost equal to what you have sitting there in lapsed salary.
Okay.
So the idea is, does the General Assembly really need to allocate that money for Medicaid? You can just take that lapsed salary money and plug that hole. Boom, done. Now, that's missing a couple of key points. There's lapsed salary all over state government. It's not because they just don't need the employees, so they just hang on to this money and, do what they want with it. It's because, number one, the agencies aren't funded enough in the first place. So when they do have lapsed salary money, which they have almost exclusively because you can't get people to take these jobs for the low pay. So when you have that lapsed salary money, as an agency head, what are you going to do? You have been cut almost all agencies have been cut every single year for years.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to run your agency and give the services to the entire state, which is a growing state, on the same money, and in some cases less? You can't. So what do? You go wherever there is some money without having to go to the General Assembly hat in hand again, because you're not going to get it from the General Assembly. That's
Mm-hmm.
why you have a budget issue in the first place. So, yes, historically has some lapsed salary money been used in irresponsible ways, maybe office furniture for the bigwigs? Sure. Is that the general rule of thumb? Absolutely not. Agencies are using this in large part to get by. So it's, our Medicaid program needs money, and it needs a little over $300 million. But to do that, to start funding things the General Assembly voted to fund in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
and take that money off the backs of state employees is the last answer anybody should be looking for. That is robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's janky budgeting at best. But mainly, these jobs being vacant means that other people are having to do the job of more than one person.
It doesn't fix the problem.
Right. But to think that salary money, which if anything, you should take that salary money, that lapse salary money, and increase the amount of the people who are currently doing the job of more than one person because of all these vacancies. And the vacancies are due to not paying enough to recruit people in the first place.
Stephanie Olson, DHHS Chief Operating Officer, said DHHS has 23% vacancy rate, and she cited competition with private health systems, hiring rules, and post requirements that slow recruiting.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully some of that's going to change. The Director of Office of
Last
State
week's
Human
episode.
Resources, Stacey Meyer, she told us about, the new session law that will make it easier to hire folks. So
it'll be faster. You can hire temp to permanent in a way, a much more fast-tracked, less ridiculous red tape way. It's going to be very good, but it's not going to solve the funding problem. We just cannot not address it. And we cannot not say, we don't pay enough, so we're going to keep having vacancies. And when we have those vacancies, agencies are going to have to pay people overtime who are already there, or find temps, which cost more because you have to pay the agency for a temp. So they can't just run that budget online. They have to squirrel away. Those lapsed salary funds are going to be necessary, and all of a sudden they have to use them all because they need enough temps or they need enough overtime.
So in a perfect world, you wouldn't have to use lapsed salaries for those kind of things. In a perfect world, they would be appropriately funded, and this wouldn't even be an issue.
And you'd be able to recruit enough people to fill those positions.
But it comes
so you
right
wouldn't
back.
have to pay overtime, and you wouldn't have to.
Exactly. It's penny wise, pound foolish to run it the way we are now.
Funding issue.
But then to blame, not blame so much, but to expect salary money to cover things the General Assembly already said they were going to do, in this case, Medicaid, and the expansion of it they voted on a couple years ago. That's rubbing salt into the wounds of employees who already don't have a raise and are paying more for their health care. So now you're going to go to lapse salary money to solve problems. That's ridiculous. Sammy's got something on her mind. I can see the wheels turning.
I got a one-track mind, and my brain has been sitting here thinking the whole time about how you said that Auditor Bullock stated that they were not advertising these positions.
Right.
They realize that it costs money to advertise positions like that. Even utilizing LinkedIn or Indeed, you have to pay to advertise and promote those positions. Do they even have a budget to do that? Probably not.
I don't know what their particular agency budget is for it, but I know turnover costs generally is something we talked with Stacey about Director Meyer about last week. Turnover costs are huge, and all these vacancies do mean all that advertising for jobs and stuff gets very high. I think what bothered me is to say 300 and some jobs, but not say which type.
Yeah.
It matters very much. But also, I didn't hear anything about looking at the contracting we do through Medicaid. In the past, there have been issues with that. I mean, that came to light where there was some real problems with that contracting. I didn't hear anything about that. Just let's go to the lapse salary funds.
Yeah.
And
Straight to it.
you know what I mean? Like, if we're really looking at it, and I know Auditor Bullock's a thorough person, so I know he will, but I felt like we just have to stand up for state employees right now and say, hold up, this got thrown out there without much detail at all. Have those contracts been looked at?
Yeah.
I feel like there's probably a whole lot of money there that has not a darn thing to do with some lapse salary money created by vacancies.
And the News and Observer had a column by Ned Barnett that I guess criticized the rapid response type reports that Bullock is issuing without details.
Well, I think when you use the word rapid in most cases.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine.
And,
if you have
you
the
know.
facts and figures, you can do it rapidly.
Said it was a flawed product. It didn't follow.
Well, I think it just begs
auditing
more questions.
standards.
Let's just
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
in fairness, let's just say it begs more questions. And I know we definitely want the answers to these, but my concern in the meantime is something like that gets thrown out there, and the average legislator
Yeah.
might just kind of tuck that away. Ooh, that lapse salary money. Agencies are wasting money, and that shows we don't need the number of employees we have. And also, we can just use that lapse salary money, grab it from everywhere, and plug holes. We've tried that years ago.
I feel like DHHS is kind of unique in that it faces such competition from the private sector, from workers, as opposed to, like, there's not a whole system of private prisons to attract correctional officers, or, there's health systems all over the state that aren't state run, and they probably pay more than DHHS. It's probably hard to attract workers.
Well, it's most definitely hard to attract. We don't pay enough. Now, remember, before the General Assembly, thank you again to, at the time, it was Senator Berger leading the Senate and Tim Moore leading the House as Speaker, who in 2018 moved that minimum wage for state employees from $7.25 to $15 an hour. That solved temporarily a lot of the problems DHHS was having in the facilities with getting somebody to take the job in the first place. The problem is the goal had been to go in after that initial moving the minimum up and address that wage compression it caused.
Yeah.
And so what you have is people who weren't coming in right off the street, who were making barely anything more than, 5 years later than a newbie. And so that didn't work out very well. And we have not, all these years past, the state's never come up with the money to address all that wage compression and that train wreck that happened. So, some good things have happened. We just didn't complete the loop on that.
One other aspect, and I'll get off my soapbox, but we've talked about it before on here, just about the vacancy rate in general, but we've had a pretty solid jobs market in North Carolina, or in the country, for the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
When that turns south, more people maybe want stable jobs like state jobs.
Yeah.
So there may be more.
Oh, well, I mean, we've been saying for a few years, the sad truth is this vacancy crisis in state government will be fixed when there's no other jobs. That's not the way any economy should want to.
But that's the truth.
Should want to run. But
yeah.
I'll just say this is a final thing. I am about getting tired in some of these off-season legislative committees of hearing people randomly say that the private sector is more efficient than the public sector without giving any dadgum quantifying anything.
Yeah.
Bull pippies.
Bull pippies.
Complete bull pippies.
That's going to be the...
I mean, seriously, don't... it's been thrown out there a couple times now.
Yeah, it has.
And that's real dangerous, and that's irresponsible.
I also hear the phrase right often that, state government is a business. State government's not a business. Government's not a business. You can't run government like a business. So
yeah, I think I got on a rant about that a couple episodes ago. But yeah, that really tans my hide. Is that a good Texas analogy for you?
Tans your hide. Yeah, sure.
It's not as good as bull pippies.
Well, I mean, I don't really have a problem with thinking run government like a business if you do.
But you don't. So.
Because business is going to operate at a profit, though, and these agencies are expected to run on less and less.
Yeah.
If you want to run your business that way, go for it.
I got curious, so I Googled what the average NCDHHS nurse hourly pay is, because I have family who work in the medical field, and they work at private places. The average DHHS nurse makes $31 to $33 per hour. My family member makes 40 something per hour.
Yeah.
Working privately.
Oh, yeah.
And not having to deal with all of the
And then, good heavens, try
things that
check psychiatrist because you can't even.
That's not even in psychiatry. She works in, not surgery, but it's like outpatient surgery.
Yeah. But I mean about trying to recruit psychiatrists or even just anybody in the facility. It's just you can go down the street and make a lot more money with a lot less.
Without having to worry about getting punched in the face or.
Yeah. Except the employees at those facilities, for the most part, they really seem like they care. They're there because, and those communities where these facilities are located, they've been there forever. And you literally have multiple generations of family who've worked in these facilities. So there's a sense of pride that, man, that's what we do in our community. We take care of people. And I don't know, it's sad to think we have entire communities in North Carolina who've been based around caring for people who don't have the money to go get cared for somewhere else. They're fellow citizens, and they had that pride. And now the next generations are saying, I can't afford to be in that kind of poverty, so I can't carry on the family line of doing that kind of help.
Sad.
So back to the business versus government argument. And so I did hear an interesting thought experiment this week about that. So imagine that gasoline was dirt cheap, like totally cheap. There's no way to make a profit off of it, right?
That's a dream.
Would there still be companies like Exxon and Chevron to distribute that gasoline? No. So, but people still need to get to work, right? So they would probably need like a government to step in and do that, right? So because it would be a service then.
Yeah. And
so that's the role of government.
Government usually, fills those gaps.
Yeah.
And there's some things, though, that you can make a profit doing it, but you don't want your citizens to be subject to that. Like, you can make a profit running private prisons. You really can. They're quite successful. They often leave municipalities or states with liability because the bottom line is you can contract out somebody doing the work. You can't contract away your liability should something happen under their watch.
Yeah.
That's right.
And my example for that, always for people who are chronically watching TV like I am, Orange is the New Black. They privatized a prison in there. Inmates passed away. Guards passed away.
Oh, stuff. Yeah, there's so much.
Everything
so much.
Immediately got bad in that show.
There's a lot of case law around that, and so there's things you can do. Technically, it's like, privatize it, but you're going to pay. You pay more long run.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing you apparently can't do is run a successful private school without funding from the state.
Well, even when you don't have to meet the same criteria.
Exactly. So the voucher program is kind of what I'm hitting at. This week I saw a TikTok with James Tallarico from I guess he's a legislator in Texas. He was in a committee and he was asking someone who wrote a bill about the voucher program there. And he was talking about Elon Musk is a resident of Texas. He has, 14 children?
And 8 of them are school age.
8 of them are school age. So conceivably he could get, I think it was like $1.2 million in vouchers for his children.
It's insane.
And the other side, the lawmaker pushing the bill was like, everybody is eligible.
Yeah.
Shouldn't there be some restraints on that money? Like, what if Jim Goodnight here in North Carolina, that's like the richest person, I think, in North Carolina, right? What if he sent his children and grandchildren to private school? Should he be eligible for the vouchers?
One would think not. One would think that those were for families who couldn't necessarily afford to send their children to private school.
There should be at least some sort of limit on them.
Rich people are going to send their kids to private schools anyway.
Yeah, and they're definitely going to find all the tax breaks they can find, right? Because they have accountants to look for it. So that's my little tangent there.
These are questions. These are questions that will have to be asked by lawmakers to themselves as they try to craft a budget. It's very expensive to open it up to absolutely everybody. Do you have that money? And what public good does it do to open it up to the super wealthy?
I think that's going to be a topic in the election. I think it'll be a big debate. It should be, but
I don't know. We'll see.
We don't know.
I wish those were around whenever I was in school. I would have been able to go to private school because my parents, they wanted to. It was just out of reach for us.
Yeah.
It was just out of reach.
Yeah.
I mean, it would still be out of reach because they just jack up the prices after.
Yeah, double.
After the
I think a local
vouchers went in effect.
So we do have some good news to report this week. The state has honored 6 state employees, 5 from the Department of Transportation and 1 state trooper for their efforts in getting motorists to safety when a portion of I-40 collapsed out in the western part of the state during Helene. Their names were Scott Coggins, David Hall, and Austin Phillips from DOT. They are engineers. IMAP drivers Garrett McFalls and Christopher Stradler and Trooper Joe Henderson. They were awarded the Governor's Award for Excellence on Wednesday, November 19th.
Y'all, thank y'all. Congratulations.
That's amazing.
For being honored in that way. And
we were talking about it earlier, how terrifying that must have been. But then, these are people who serve the citizens of North Carolina. So they just jumped in and did, what needed to happen. But yeah, thank you for what you do.
Yeah, the narrative in the story is pretty harrowing. So you should go read it. It's in the News and Observer, and we posted it on our Facebook page.
But nobody went in the river.
No cars. That's pretty amazing. And if you look at the road there, I mean, I've driven that stretch before, and you're all 10 years ago, you were close to that river.
Yep.
It was a little scary back then. So just imagine you're driving along and the road is not there anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, that is a good news story. And it's something you just won't hear a lot about it. It's the sad thing.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought it up, and we can put it out there to folks so that they know this is the kind of thing these state employees are doing.
Yeah.
7 Wildlife Resources Commission employees also received the award for their actions during Helene. All 7 worked at the Armstrong State Fish Hatchery, and they tried in vain to save the hatchery and 600,000 trout during this storm.
Ooh. Goodness.
So I guess in vain means they were unsuccessful, which is...
I'm sure that...
How you did that.
Yeah.
It's still so hard to get your head around what happened to our state.
Yeah, because 600,000 trout is a big deal to North Carolina, to certain parts of our economy, and they took that seriously enough. Yeah. They walked right up to the line of maybe getting wiped away themselves. That's pretty huge sacrifice.
Oh, there's more to their story. So they were unable to save the hatchery, but they did save a neighbor whose house was destroyed by a landslide, and he clung to a piece of his house and called for help, and they were able to pull him to safety. So many stories out of the West. There should be a documentary about all of that.
To me, it's one of the biggest reasons we don't need crews of people under contracts coming into this state to do stuff when state employees can do it. And number one, because if somebody would look at it, we do it more efficiently and cheaper than contracts. But number 2, I want North Carolinians doing that. I want North Carolinians having those jobs, and I want North Carolinians there because North Carolinians are going to try to save their neighbor. They're going to go that extra mile. We are neighbors. We're not just employees. It matters.
And just to give them a name check on the podcast, I'm sure they're listening, right? Their names were Kaylee Winters, Chuck Melton, Spike Gouge, Doug Arfman, Luke Clark, Jacob Setterland, and Elijah Winters. So good on you guys. And
thank you so much.
Hard work. So we have a big event coming up next week. Our second town hall for the Lantern program is going to happen in Goldsboro on Monday, December 1st at 6:30 at Wayne Community College. Please make plans to attend. We can help you save some money, get your questions answered.
Yeah, Director Meyer from OSHR is coming. There'll be the representative from Lantern on hand, as well as the administrator of the state health plan, Thomas Friedman. Mm-hmm. So great time to get your questions answered about the Lantern program, which obviously is for active employees and non-Medicare retirees. If you're on Medicare, this will not affect you. So if you're one of those 2 groups, please make plans to be there. And
remind everybody what Lantern is.
Lantern is a program that the state health plan has partnered with that will allow state health plan members to use a network of physicians to get non-elective surgeries at 0 cost. And, there's been people are like, I don't want to change my doctor. Your doctor may end up being in the Lantern network. So those kind of questions are important going forward that the physicians in the program are thoroughly vetted. I believe we're starting off with any kind of bariatric treatment will have to go through Lantern, and then things like a shoulder surgery or knee replacement, things that you can plan out. Those are the kind of surgeries that we're starting off with in the plan. They hope to expand it.
Well, I noticed some of our social media comments have been around, hey, I don't even need surgery. In other words, they're not pleased with the treasurer's office because they're like, well, that doesn't do me a darn bit of good. My premiums went up. But we just want to reiterate, if people use this program, the state health plan saves a lot of money. This can prevent having your premiums go up again the next year, whether you need it or not. God bless, I hope nobody needs surgery. Wouldn't that be amazing? Bottom line is, some of us are going to need to.
Yeah.
And some of those same commenters think that their premiums went up because of this program, that, we can give people free surgeries because my premiums went up.
And it's actually quite the opposite. If members will use the Lantern program so that it's costing the state health plan less overall, then that helps the state health plan sustainability. So
I mean, it is kind of
can be reflected in premiums. So
it is kind of counterintuitive if you don't really look into it, though. I mean, I can see where just someone who doesn't know the details of the plan, like, how is this saving money? I have the same questions, I guess.
Yeah, because you can't even conceptualize. You mean we've been paying so much that we can give people something for free and come out better? How is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the example that
how gross it is.
Thomas Friedman uses is that he could take a limo and go and pick someone up 2 hours away, drive them back,
stay at the
have their surgery, put them up in the Umstead for a couple of days, pay for your person to accompany you, and drive you back home for thousands less than what the state health plan traditionally has.
Which is what we've been screaming for 10, 15 years. We are really getting overcharged, and this is a prime example.
Well, and the sustainability of the plan is a real issue.
Yeah.
A real issue. So, they're thinking out of the box.
Mm-hmm. And you'll probably be sick of turkey leftovers by then, Monday. If you want a good meal, come out to our event. We will have some food.
We'll have food that is not
turkey.
The same thing you've been eating for the past 4 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe I think it's a really good thing, because when you can ask those questions yourself, and figure out, does it apply to your family? Man.
And ask those questions directly of the representatives.
Yeah, earlier this month, we had a virtual one that was very well attended and lots of questions. Then we had one in Morganton that was less attended, but we did have some good questions there too.
Yeah.
So I think that there are lots of questions out there that can be answered, and you'll get something out of this.
Yeah, and we're in the process now of setting one up in Wake County, so stay tuned for more details on that one as we pull it together.
Somewhere, either Harnett or Cumberland, we're coming to you soon.
Yeah.
Sanford. We have a big civic center. We should do it there.
Why not?
And we should do another virtual one. Maybe we should talk about that. We do have that one recorded, though, and it is on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel if you want to go back and watch.
Could also possibly do one at FSU.
Yeah. And I think
Fayetteville State's probably
the idea for Fayetteville.
That's probably
we'll get you details on that very soon. But the bottom line is, look into this program, and don't think that we think this is it. Oh, they've done Lantern, the problems are solved. We don't think that, but we do know, and we respect the fact the Treasurer's Office has tried to do something to bring more competition to what has been a very quasi-monopolistic approach to healthcare with the state health plan. I mean, just paying people ransoms. It's just insane. So they're trying to stop the lunacy, and this is the first step.
Yeah.
Because if people go to these Lantern providers and they're happy to compete, the folks who are charging us 4 and 5 times what they should be charging us are going to have to get real. So that's the goal.
Yep.
Well, I think that's a good way to wrap up the newsy portion of the show. Now it's time for John's Wacky Weird Question of the Week.
John's Wacky Weird Question of the Week.
Okay, so it's always easy to come up with a question around the holidays. I just figure out something we haven't talked about the holidays. I think we did a favorite Thanksgiving side last year. So let's go with favorite Thanksgiving tradition. Maybe for you or for the nation or anything. And I'll start. And this tradition just started like a few years ago. My father-in-law who is like the greatest man ever. I love him. But Jimmy Lucas, he decided, I'm just going to rent a house at the beach on Thanksgiving, and we're going to go there. And we're like, thank you, Jimmy.
I love that idea.
Wonderful.
So we're going to Oak Island this year just for the week. It's pretty cheap to rent a house down there during Thanksgiving. So we're going to the Oak Island and spend some time just sitting on the couch with each other, and it's going to be awesome.
Eating and watching football.
What was that? Eating breads and getting
Hey, John, I hear you saying we're going to go down there and sit on the couch with each other.
Yep,
How
and
does
watch
the meal
football.
happen? How does the meal happen if
Oh,
you're sitting
no.
on the couch?
Yeah, my wife and mother-in-law will be doing that.
Get yourself in that kitchen, either for prep
No,
or
they don't want
cleanup.
me in that kitchen.
Oh, please. They would take you for cleanup. They sure would. Ask them.
In a hot
Ashley,
minute.
you know you want him in the kitchen cleaning up.
Oh, no, she does not want me in the kitchen.
I was thinking about it this morning. I watch a beach cam nearly every morning when I have my
and you
coffee
share it
just to
with
watch
us.
the sun come up at any number of beaches. And I was thinking about that this morning, that maybe next year I'll rent a place, take my little family
Yeah, it's
out of town for Thanksgiving.
Be a neat tradition.
It would be, which we started last year. Erica wanted to do Thanksgiving dinner herself.
oh, okay.
And Garrett, my son, he did chip in. He buttered up the turkey and got him all ready for the oven. But so we started that last year. I just go to their house and enjoy being with them and the kids.
How does that feel, though? Are you sad about passing the baton?
Not one bit.
Okay.
Not one bit. It's lovely just to sit and play with the grandchildren and smell the stuff coming out of the kitchen, and I'm not in there.
I think that my mom and my mother-in-law are both holding on to it. They want
Yeah.
ones. So at some point, see, we used to go to my grandmother's big shindig for Christmas. But at some point, you go to just your immediate family, and you lose track of all those cousins and everything. That's kind of sad. But
Yeah, times have changed. Times have changed since we were kiddos.
what's your tradition, artists?
I mean, the Macy's parade has always
Oh, yeah,
been
yeah.
That's
the
what
way
I
the
was
day
thinking.
starts. It has to start that way. And then in recent years, my kids all really like movies. I'm not a big movie person, but that's the official start of Christmas movie season
Yeah,
at the house.
that's true. Yeah. Last year, we watched Planes, Trains, and Automobile, which is a Thanksgiving movie.
Oh,
And-
yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it was awesome. And I love that. I love
love
movie,
that.
So.
I was going to say that, and now that Noah fancies himself a pumpkin farmer, pumpkin pie has become like a real
Yeah.
feature. Pumpkin
Yeah.
bread, sometimes pumpkin seed.
All the pumpkin
All the
stuff.
pumpkin.
Does he make them? Or
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Sammy?
We don't necessarily have a tradition for Thanksgiving Day, but that weekend they always in Fayetteville have the Dickens holiday, which is like a step back into Victorian times. It's downtown Fayetteville. And they'll have a bunch of different characters from A Christmas Carol of people just dressed up like those Victorian characters.
I love it.
And it's kind of like a bunch of small businesses and vendors are out there. So we get to go and look around for stocking stuffers, small treats for family for Christmas and stuff like that. But it's also just nice to walk around. They'll have cider and
That's very
really cool fun
Yeah.
things. So we do that.
Very neat.
And this year apparently is their 26th year doing it in Fayetteville. So,
Very cool.
and they do a candlelight thing every evening. So we'll usually go there for
I
a
love
couple
that.
hours and hang out there. And then we also do Black Friday shopping now.
Yeah, no.
That's what I was going to mention. None of us mentioned Black Friday.
Yeah,
But then you ruined
Before 2019, the answer was absolutely not. We were not doing any of that. After COVID started, Black Friday became a lot less crowded and was
it. Yeah.
much more mellow. So my family was more okay with going out on Black Friday. Before COVID happened, absolutely not. There was no chance we were leaving the house that day.
Yeah, we do most of our shopping online, I think. Except
Yeah.
for like big items. that
Like
we have to get
Cyber
something.
Monday and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
None of y'all mentioned putting up the tree or anything. Is that not a thing?
I have a little, I don't know,
Oh, a little tree.
18-inch tree. Erica bought it when Mia was a baby for a photo shoot that she did with her, and somehow it made it to my house. But I just kind of, there's nobody coming to my house. So, and putting up a Christmas tree is a lot of work. So I just put up that little Christmas tree and put my little gifts around it, and it's just as festive as it can be.
Our tree has been up since like November 3rd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my family doesn't do that. My mom actually dreads putting up the Christmas holidays
Oh.
or the Christmas decorations and stuff. She dreads it. She
Yeah,
doesn't
see that I kind of got that way with the tree, so I'm not doing it.
She still ends up doing it, but we try and do it while I'm home for Thanksgiving so that she has some help because I like helping put up decorations and I like doing it. So I'm kind of her little helper for that to get
That's
as much
one of
done
those
as
jobs I would
possible.
pass right on down.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. And Artist, you were a little taken aback that I said Thanksgiving was my favorite holiday, but it is because it's like a feast and football. So I rest my case. All right, everyone. Have a great Thanksgiving. Well, I guess you've already had a great Thanksgiving, but we will see you at December 1st in Goldsboro, 6:30 p.m., Wayne Community College. See you there.